So you're here because you want to know a little bit more about the DFO-32 Delta Wing 850mm wingspan jet. These are by the World Models. These are $50 kits. They come $99 plug and play or pre-assembled combo. Actually, it's not a true pre-assembled combo. It doesn't come with an ESC, but it does come with the servos and the stock EDF unit with the motor. So from left to right, we have the very earliest acquisition to the very right side, the latest acquisition. So starting from number one, we have the yellow scheme, Coast Guard scheme. It is a version 2 DFO-32 model. It is powered by a 4S 3300 milliamp hour LiPo. The motor is a B2950 3300 kV inrunner, and the EDF unit is a 10-blade Lander 64mm DPS fan unit. You guys have probably seen the video that demonstrating the robustness of this jet that hit a tree on a high-speed flyby. I'll have a link below in the description so you can check that out if you want. The next one to the right is the People's Liberation Army Chinese Air Force scheme. It is also a V2 DFO-32 airframe. It is also powered by a 4S 3300 milliamp hour LiPo pack. The motor is a 2845 Outrunner by FMS. It's 2750 kV. And the EDF unit is, of course, an FMS 70mm 12 blade. This is probably my fastest 4S EDF jet setup. It could probably overtake the 6S setup, mainly because of the bigger EDF unit and the Outrunner paired with it. The next one to the right, number 3, is a pusher LED pursuit variant of the DFO-32. So no EDF unit. It has a motor in the back. We'll walk over to it soon. It is a version 2 powered by a 4S 3300 milliamp hour LiPo. The motor is a Hobbyking or NTM 3536 size 1800 kV Outrunner. The prop is an APC 6.5 by 6.5 by 2 prop. It is really fast. It's probably the fastest in the lineup here, given that it is a pusher configuration. The next one up is number 4. It is a 6S setup. It is a 6S version 1. Okay, it is a version 1. I'll do a close-up later to show you guys what the difference between a version 1 and a version 2. But for right now, it is a version 1 6S 1300 milliamp hour to 1500 milliamp hour setup, 6S setup. And the motor is a Q motor 2200 kV 2822 size. The EDF unit is a 12-blade 64mm Q motor fan. The one right next to it, number 5, is a 4S setup. It is an X-Fly 64mm 2200 milliamp hour LiPo setup. The motor is a 2840 size 3200 kV. The EDF unit is a 12-blade 64mm. Well, this particular model is also having a different motor setup interchangeably as an option. The other option for this airframe is a QF 2822 3600 kV. The EDF unit is a QX 12-blade 64mm variant. Because of the 3600 kV running at 4S on 12 blade with a QF 2822, I am going to be equipping this airframe with an 80 amp ESC just to capture the full range of motor loading requirements, the second EDF that would demand of this aircraft. The last but not least, the one to the very right, is a completely stock setup DFO-32. I also have 2 different stock EDF units that would be paired to this airframe. The first 3S/4S motor setup is the TWM Outrunner, part number KM0283110. It is a 3600 kV. You can run a 3S. It's actually rated for a 3S 2200 milliamp hour. I'm running it at a 4S 3300 milliamp hour, or a 4000 milliamp hour to compensate for the extra loading of this high kV at 4S. It'll generate more than 1-to-1 on a 4S setup. 3S, it's okay, but 4S would bring this alive. But since the extra loading is there, I've decided to also pair the EDF unit with the TWM stock 5-blade, part number PL68000010. It is a 67 millimeter impeller. There is also a optional turbo motor that's rated for 4S, but I run that on a 5S 1800 milliamp hour LiPo pack, which is equivalent dimensionally to a 2200 milliamp hour 4S pack. So if I run the 5S pack, it makes this thing go really fast. So probably on par with the, I would say, the Coast Guard, the first one, or maybe even the 6S setup. Pretty quick, but it won't be able to overtake the Chinese variant though. That has a 70 millimeter 4S FMS setup, so that's had to carve a bunch of foam out of the airframe to fit that fan in. So very powerful 4S setup here. Anyway, I hope you guys found the video to be a little informal, or informative, not informal. And I'm gonna go as a bonus round, as promised, to show you guys the differences between version 1 and version 2. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1 is a version 2. You can see there are servo wires right underneath the 5. That's where the servo wires from the wing traverse. And you can also see is also the case for the Chinese scheme. There is also a servo wire from the foam that creeps up to the fuselage and goes into the fuselage that way. The pusher configuration is the same, but as you can see, the 6S setup, which is a version 1, you don't have that servo wire running into the fuselage from the top of the wing. And is also the case for the dual 64 millimeter setup on 4S. It's also a version 1. And then the last stock version, it's a version 2. You can see the right where it says top air fleet, and underneath that, diagonally to the right, there's a decal that covers the servo wire, so you can't really see it, but it's there. You've already probably noticed by now the nose cone that I've fabricated. It's only to protect the nose cone underneath when landing on rough surfaces. This can take a beating. It can eliminate the possibility of the foam getting or the stock nose cone getting dented up on a belly landing on non-friendly surfaces. So I hope you guys had a fine 2022. We are coming to an end to 2022. It is Christmas Day. And I wish you guys all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Leave a comment down below, subscribe, and ask questions if you have any. I'll see you guys on the turnaround. Take care. Bye.